Hi, my name is Jeff Kraft, or Kali Das, and I'm the founder and director of the Atlanta School of Tantra Yoga. And I wanted to make this video for you today because I know that there are a lot of people who are interested in yoga and Tantra and various forms of healing, and it can really be very confusing to look at all of the different methods that are out there, all of the different explanations for what things are and the different types of yoga and the different types of healing practices. And so what I want to do today is to kind of break down some of that confusion, sort of set aside those ideas and really have you focus kind of on the one thing that we're trying to create through this process, so that we can really narrow down and focus. Because you're looking for techniques, you're looking for information, and ultimately there's really primarily sort of one thing that you yourself are looking for, which is that you're looking for some kind of result, some kind of benefit to you in your life. So we have lots of different things that could be happening in our lives, that we may be seeking some sort of solution for. So for instance, you may be experiencing some sort of relationship challenge, whether that's just feeling a little bit in a rut, or maybe having some bigger challenge than that. You may be experiencing health challenges or anxiety, lack of confidence, fatigue, feeling stuck in some way in your life, or feeling like there's some sort of purpose that's not being fulfilled for you. And all of those are potential things that may be sort of frustrations that are happening in your life, or challenges that are happening in your life. And there are all of these different techniques that are out there. But ultimately, when we start to look at it, the thing that everybody is seeking, that everybody is wanting, is to find some way of creating peace in their life, of finding happiness, and whatever version that is. Everyone's definition of happiness is, of course, different, or potentially different. But you're seeking deeper peace, you're seeking probably deeper joy, maybe vibrancy, more energy in your body, and you're wanting to feel healthier and happier and more balanced in your life. And that can express itself in a lot of different ways. And when we start to go and look at different teachings, there can be a multitude of different techniques. And a lot of those techniques, of course, are potentially helpful for you. But not every technique is the right technique for the solution that you need. And so we're wanting to really start to understand and focus on what's the core understanding of yoga, because there's lots of different explanations for what that could be. So I want to kind of take some of the yoga language off of things for a moment and not focus so much on it being about spirituality or any other thing like that for the moment. But we want to talk about the one thing that we're trying to accomplish through all of these different practices of yoga and healing techniques and connected things through the ecstatic union healing system. And the thing that we're all trying to do with all of those different techniques is to understand first what is creating the different challenges that we're having, what's creating the different levels of suffering or depression or challenges in relationships, etc., etc. And pretty much everything that you can think of that's a challenge, whether it's a health challenge or a relationship challenge, etc., has one thing in common. And that is that at the very core of it, there's something in conflict. There's something out of balance in what we could say is sort of the natural order of things. And it's that conflict that creates the stress, that creates the challenge, that creates the suffering. And this conflict arises, this type of conflict arises in pretty much any area of our life. If we have conflict with another human being, then that's pretty obvious. But we can also have conflict or disharmony in the body, for instance, which leads to health problems. So, the natural order of stress that we talk about is a form of kind of inner conflict to the nervous system or to the physiology. If we have elevated blood sugar, for instance, which could be moving towards, like a diabetes kind of state, then there is a conflict within the physiology of how does it deal with this imbalance of sugar, for instance. So conflict can exist in the body. It can exist in our mind. For instance, having a belief system that we have, or a thought that we have, that feels in conflict with maybe something that we're experiencing out in the world, in our job or in a relationship. There's an inner conflict that happens, the inner conflict between the heart and the mind, for instance. So various different forms of conflict exist. And one of the ways that this is expressed in the yoga traditions, and specifically in Tantra traditions, is that there's this idea that Tantra says that at the final culmination of what we're wanting to create what is referred to as a metaphor of reunifying Shiva and Shakti. And there's a lot of different ways to sort of go into the deeper nuances of that, but at its very simplest kind of form, Shiva and Shakti are sometimes referred to as the masculine and the feminine principles. And what that refers to is that there's just this sort of idea that there's opposites, that there's male and female, kind of as two different things. There's good and evil, etc., etc. This is one of the ways of kind of explaining this idea that everything that exists in the nature that we're experiencing right now has this potential to have this kind of conflict between two things that appear to be different. And the processes of yoga, the processes of Tantra, are inviting us in various ways, through various different techniques, to find a way to reharmonize any of the conflicts that we may be experiencing. Finding ways to harmonize conflicts that may be happening in the body, conflicts that may be happening within ourselves between what we're doing and the belief systems that we have, conflicts between, that bring up kind of fears if we're trying to go accomplish something, and there's sort of an inner programming that's happening that sort of causes us to resist, that creates some sort of inner tension, even if we don't understand what it is. The irrational types of fears of like fear of heights and fear of public speaking and those types of things. There's a conflict within us that arises. And so part of what we're wanting to understand then is that we're really trying to create harmony at the deepest level of yoga. Yoga, as a Sanskrit term, translates into union. And it is through that union of resolving the conflicts that we have, resolving our inner conflicts, resolving our conflicts with other people, resolving our conflicts with our past, resolving our conflicts within our physiology. All of these different ways of resolving conflicts allow us to reharmonize, to rebalance, and to bring back the two opposites into something that is more balanced and whole. And so we're doing that at various different levels. And so we understand then that any challenge that we're having is arising because there is some conflict happening at some level. And part of what we're wanting to do to be efficient and effective about our yoga practice, our tantric practice, our healing path, whatever it is that we're needing to create in terms of an outcome or a goal that we have for ourselves, whether it's relationship or health or anything else, that we're trying to create that harmony and balance. And so the ecstatic union healing system has drawn from a lot of different yogic traditions and also some more modern takes on different healing practices that are also connected to the underlying intentions that are happening within the yoga and tantric systems. And it's bringing those things together so that we can understand that if our main challenge is, for instance, something that's happening in the body, a health challenge, or challenges around sort of physical stress or physical disease, then we have specific tools that we can hone in on that with. And the same thing if we're having kind of an inner conflict around, our sense of purpose, or if we're feeling a lot of experiences arising of feeling sort of stuck, and we're not able to figure out kind of what step to take next, and we keep hesitating even if we feel like maybe we know what we're supposed to do. Those kinds of inner conflicts where we're feeling stuck. So all of these different things can be dealt with by various different tools. It's just a matter, of course, of knowing what the right tool is, but understanding that each tool is designed ultimately to help restore balance and harmony, to resolve the conflict at a particular level, to bring us back towards the states of peace and happiness and joy and vibrancy that we're really wanting to achieve through the process. The main thing that we want you to understand at this point is that we're trying to harmonize our life at different levels. And there are various different tools for that. Now, what I invite you to do as sort of your own action step right now is to reflect on your own life and to begin to look and just feel into your own inner experience. Where are you aware of the most conflict or the most challenge within your own personal experience right now? Are you feeling more challenge around your physical body, your health? Are you feeling more challenge around your experiences of relationship? Are you feeling more challenges around maybe your career, or just feeling stuck in life, feeling like you're in a rut? Are you feeling more challenges around your sort of mental and emotional states, perhaps feeling anxious or fearful or even a little bit depressed, and maybe not even clear why at this point, or maybe you do have some ideas why. But just to feel in to kind of where the primary conflict is arising. And this becomes actually one of the greatest tools that we have, is starting to develop our own awareness, because what we learn through that process is that as we become more aware of what is happening within us, we also become more aware of the places that the conflict exists, and allows us to direct our awareness towards finding resolutions to those conflicts. Whereas if we're not using our awareness, if we're not kind of tuned in, then it can become sort of easy to ignore the things that our body, that our mind, that our feelings are telling us and communicating to us, sort of pointing out where stresses and conflicts exist. And if we're ignoring them, then those stresses and conflicts can continue to build up until it creates more of a crisis situation where we're sort of forced to deal with it. And the idea, of course, is that we would prefer not to get ourselves to that space, that we'd like to be able to find ways to continue to harmonize. And these are the teachings and tools of Tantra Yoga and the Ecstatic Union healing system, is learning a lot of different tools so that we can sort of fine-tune where it is that we're wanting to harmonize our life, to harmonize our experience. And so from here, I'm going to leave you, but I want you just to reflect on where it is that you're experiencing the greatest level of conflict, or places in your life that you feel like need the most attention in terms of restoring balance and harmony. And start to tune into that and feel into that. And from here, I'll be making some additional videos that will be talking about some other topics, going a little deeper into some of the tools that we can use and helping to give you more information around those types of things. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today, and that you will look below and make any comments that you might have, or ask any questions that you might have, and also share this link with your friends so that they can enjoy this experience as well and learn something about this important rule of yoga, and kind of breaking down all of the other things that we can talk about, sort of stepping away from all of the talk about the different types of techniques and the different philosophies, and understand at the core that we're trying to resolve conflict in various different ways and restore balance and harmony to every aspect of our experience of life and self.